Today's topic is one of my all-time favorites to talk about. I just enjoy it. It's just calculating algebraically. It's a wonderful thing. I love it. We're going to be talking about multiplying binomials. We do two techniques here. We do double distribution, which is known by everybody who's ever taken algebra as FOIL. And I'm going to show you a second technique called the box method. You can choose either way. For today, I want you to practice them both. But you decide which way you like best, and that's the one you're going to do. We're going to start with the FOIL method. Now, FOIL stands for first, outer, inner, and last. That's the order we're going to multiply. Now, what we're going to be multiplying here today are binomials. Binomials, you will recall, are two-termed polynomials. So we'll start with x plus 3 times x plus 5. Now, one thing to know is this is sort of like when you started multiplying 43 times 27. It's not very hard to do. You've gotten the hang of it now. But when you first started this is kind of difficult. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's talk about this. If we're by first, inner, outer, and last, or first, outer, inner, last, I'm talking about these. These are my first terms. These are my outer terms. These are my inner terms. And these are my last terms. Okay, you're going to multiply each one, kind of like when you did 43 times 27. You went 7 times 3, 7 times 4. Then you put a place value, but then 2 times 3, 2 times 4. You're going to do the same thing here. You're going to take it piece by piece. So we'll start, our first will be x times x, which we know to be x squared. Our outer will be x times 5, which we know to be 5x. Our inner will be 3 times x, which we know to be 3x. And our last will be 3 times 5, which we know is 15. Okay, so we multiplied first, outer, inner, last, like we did here. But now we have to put everything together. And that's where knowing your like terms, that's where everything comes in handy. We look at this, these two can be combined, but we're just going to write like this. We'll have x squared, we'll have 5 and 3, gives us 8, and 15. Now notice that 5 and 3 gives us positive 8, so we have a plus. That's a positive 15, so we have a plus. So when we multiply two binomials, in most cases we're going to get a trinomial like this. Okay, so x plus 3 times x plus 5 will give us x squared plus 8x plus 15. Let's try another real quick. This time let's try x plus 4 times x plus 9. I'm going to run through a little bit quicker this time. We're going to do our first, x times x. That gives us x squared. We'll do our outer, x times 9, gives us 9x. Our inner, 4 times x, 4x. And our last, 4 times 9, 36. Now notice one thing. We spell FOIL because that's a nice cute word. If we wanted to spell file or loif or whatever word we wanted to spell, we're still going to multiply the same combinations. It doesn't matter what order you multiply them in. You're still going to get this. And when you write them, you're going to want to write them in order, in descending order. So we're going to have x squared plus 13x plus 36. Now by descending order, I'm talking about the variable x. We have squared, 1, and 0. So that's the order that we're usually going to write it in. Okay? It doesn't matter how we do it. We use FOIL because it's a common word. All right, next I want to show you what's called the box method. We're going to start off with the same thing. We're going to have x plus 3 and x plus 5. Okay? Except this time we're going to use this box. And again, whatever method you choose is fine with me. Just get used to one. More than likely, y'all are going to start using FOIL because it's a little bit easier to have to draw a box, but the box works just fine. For the box, we're going to put our terms at the top. So we have x and positive 3. Now notice I didn't put the plus. And this one I'll have x and 5. And you know how these boxes work. These two will give you x squared, 3x, 5x, and 15. Now you notice you get the same thing you did when you went FOIL. Now put it together. These two usually will combine, giving us x squared plus 8x plus 15. It's the same method, but you know, as it gets a little more complex, we start adding things to it. We do 3 across and 2 down. It might be easier for you to use the box. Let's do our second one again. We have x plus 4 times x plus 9. Again, we'll put x, 4, x, 9, That gives us x squared. That gives us 4x. That gives us 9x. That gives us 36. Combine that. These two go together. So we get x squared plus 13x plus 36. Now you will find out at times these two don't go together, and that's fine. You'll just end up having 4 terms. All right, for these next examples, I'm gonna go back and forth. I'm gonna do one in FOIL, one in box, one in FOIL, and so forth. I'll be doing different examples, so you get a lot of different examples to look at. You can choose whichever method. If I'm doing FOIL on the screen and you want to do box, do box. If I'm doing box on the screen and you want to do FOIL. Pick one. Try them both right now, but choose one eventually. Okay. For this next one, let's go with x plus 5 times x minus 8. Now this time I'm going to throw in some minuses. That will change a little bit how this works. Still going to do FOIL. First will give us x squared. Our outer will give us negative 8x. Our inner will give us 5x. Now notice that's positive 5x. And our last will give us negative 40. Okay, so now when we combine, we're going to have x squared. These two, negative 8 and positive 5, give us negative 3. And then negative 40. Again, be careful. When I went 5 times x, that was positive 5. When I went x times negative 8, that's negative 8x. Make sure you put those signs in there. Keep those straight, because that'll change all of this. Notice if it were different, we could end up with the same numbers here, just different signs. All right, let's try another one with the box method. You can see here we're going to do x minus 3 times x plus 7. When we put these in the box, now again, we have a negative here. Be careful. That's x, and that's negative 3. We didn't have to put it for the positive, so at the bottom we have x and 7. But it's important that we have it, because that changes everything. X and x gives us x squared. Negative 3 and x gives us negative 3x. X and 7 gives us 7x. Negative 3 and 7 gives us negative 21. We can combine things. We have x squared. These two, negative 3 and negative 7, give me positive 4, and then negative 21. So x minus 3 times x plus 7 gives me x squared plus 4x minus 21. Okay, for this next one, still have 2 binomials, but notice now we're going to deal with some coefficients, 3 and 2. Now one thing you should have realized by now is all the rules we talked about before, they all apply to this. Okay, when we multiply monomials, remember we're multiplying one thing at a time, so the same product rules are going to count here too. So let's do this one. We're going to go 2 times 3, and that's going to give us 6x squared. We're going to do our outers. That's 2 times negative 8, so it's going to give us negative 16x. We do our inners, that's 5 times 3, so that's positive 15x. And we do our last, 5 times negative 8, gives us negative 40. So now we have these like terms that we can combine. Gives us 6x squared. Negative 16 and positive 15 is negative 1, so I'm just going to put negative x minus 40. So 2x plus 5 times 3x minus 8 is 6x squared minus x minus 40. All right, into the box method. We'll do 4x plus 5 and 2x minus 4. So let's go ahead and plug it in. We'll have 4x and 5. We'll have 2x and negative 4. That'll give us 8x squared. That'll give us 10x. Give us negative 16x and negative 20. So we can combine that. We're going to have 8x squared. These two will give us negative 6x minus 20. So 4x plus 5 times 2x minus 4 is 8x squared minus 6x minus 20. Again, any method you choose, or either method that you choose is fine. This just gives you extra practice. All right, this next one, again, we have 2 more examples. They're each going to step it up a notch. This one, you notice, we have x squared, we have 2x cubed, we have 4x, we have a lot of different things in there. The pattern that we've been following where we have 2 binomials give us a nice, pretty trinomial, that changes a little bit here. It's no big deal. The method of multiplying is still the same. We're going to do our first. X squared times 2x cubed is going to give us 2x to the 5th. Our outer, so x squared plus 4x squared, or 4x, sorry, is positive 4x cubed. The inners, 3 times 2x cubed is 6x cubed. And our last, 3 times 4x is 12x. Now, Lo and behold, these two will actually combine, but that's just a random coincidence there. This will give us 2x to the fifth plus 10x cubed plus 12x. So x squared plus 3 times 2x to the third plus 4x is going to give us 2x to the fifth plus 10x cubed plus 12x. Alright, for this last example, I've just tried to muck it up as much as I can. We have x squared y plus 4 times 2x cubed minus 8y squared. This is one where you might want to use the box a little more, or it might be easier for you. Let's go ahead and put it in. We're going to have x squared, that's terrible too, x squared y plus 4. We'll have 2x cubed and minus 8y squared. Okay, so now this is going to give us 2x to the fifth y. This will give us 8x to the third. This will give us negative 8x squared y to the third. And this will give us negative 32y squared. So there's nothing we can combine here, so that's going to be our solution, or not solution, our answer. We're going to have 2x to the fifth y plus 8x cubed minus 8x squared y cubed minus 32y squared. So this time multiplying two binomials gives us a four-termed polynomial. Nothing can combine. Finally, in conclusion, you learn two methods today. It's going to take practice. You'll get the hang of it. You choose. You can go FOIL or you can use the box method. Either way. I have a feeling that most of you, by the time you're done, will be going with FOIL just because it's less writing, and there's nothing wrong with that. So either way you do it is okay. Practice. There's a sheet in your notes that I want you to. I gave you, I think, 4 examples that I want you to go through and try it both ways. You know what the answers will be because you'll get it one way or the other. Practice both ways. Make sure you come to class with a question, okay? If we want to make this work, you need to have questions. Maybe a simple one, but I promise you, if you've got it, somebody else is asking the same thing. Thank you very much.